Hey guys, what's up? It's Dean. I am getting on, and we're going to talk about why men should do yoga again. And this is part number 7. So this is the 7th video of this series that I've made. And before I get into it too much, I just want to test and make sure this is working. So we've done 6 of these before now, and yep, cool. I'm live. All right, so we've done 6 of these so far, and every time we've talked about one of the more common questions that I'm asked when it comes to yoga, and I tried to in these episodes I've tried to talk about realistically what is the benefit of yoga. So I'm coming at this differently than most people who teach yoga. I'm an athlete who started doing yoga to become a better athlete, so I don't have the same approach that most yoga instructors do. I think that a lot of what yoga instructors say is total bullshit, and that they oversell what yoga can do for you. So what I want to do in this video and in this video series, is instead of telling you bullshit, how yoga can cure cancer and yoga can help you, be an Olympic athlete, I'm going to talk about what yoga can actually do for you. So I'm going to give you kind of a realist perspective on why men should do yoga and what it can realistically do for you. So in the past, I've talked about yoga and testosterone. I've talked about yoga and better sex. Talked about physical performance. I've talked about if it's a good enough workout or not. We've talked about what makes yoga unique from other workouts. And then a couple other things that I can't remember right now. But anyway, so we've been talking about yoga and why men should do it, and again, realistically, what is it going to do for you? So today, what I want to talk about is muscle. Can yoga actually help you build muscle? And the answer is yes. But I also want to go into that. I want to go into that answer and also say that yes, but mostly indirectly help you build muscle. And I'm going to explain that as I get into this. And I've got 8 points that I want to go through in this talk. So again, I'm going to talk about 8 different things, 8 different ways that yoga helps you build muscle. And most of these are indirect. Most of these are indirect reasons why yoga helps you build muscle. There are other ways to build muscle, and if your goal is to build as much muscle as possible, then there are other things that you'll need to do in addition to yoga. But yoga is extremely invaluable as an indirect way to help you build muscle as well. So the best way for you to build muscle is by using yoga somehow in your other activities. So if you're doing weightlifting, if you're doing CrossFit, if you're doing, a lot of intense body weight exercises or calisthenics, you'll need to do, my recommendation is that you do yoga because you need the indirect benefits that yoga provides in order for you to get stronger, in order for you to build muscle. So, number 1 is, and this is the direct way. So yoga can help you build muscle directly. Personally, I've noticed that my leg muscles have gotten larger from starting to do yoga, just because of that slow, controlled movement. When you're holding an exercise for a longer time, so like for example, when I'm doing a squat, probably should have moved my laundry. So when I'm doing a squat and I'm holding that down there for a long time, that's what helps to build muscle. So moving quickly through an exercise helps to build explosive strength, but it doesn't build muscle mass as well. So the best way to build muscle mass is by doing slow, controlled movement. So for example, if I go to the gym and I want to build chest muscle, right? I could do really fast push-ups, right? Like this, as fast as I can. And that's going to build explosive strength. But if I really want to build muscle, what I need to do is a really slow, controlled push-up like this, and focus on spending as much time under tension as I possibly can. And that's going to build more muscle than if I'm doing quick, explosive movements. So number 1 reason why yoga helps to build muscle is directly through that slow, controlled movement. Even if it's just your body weight, you don't have to have more than your body weight to build muscle. Pull-ups are an example of a body weight exercise that you don't need to that you can do to help you build muscle mass. It doesn't require any weight. Holding a squat for a long time, holding a high lunge, holding a runner's lunge, doing warrior poses, doing warrior 3. All of these things are going to help you build muscle directly without the assistance of an additional resistance or additional external load. So you're going to build direct muscle. You're directly going to build muscle as a result of yoga because of the body weight aspects of it, because of that slow controlled body weight resistance. And now we're going to get into some of the more indirect results. So flexibility, while this doesn't really make your muscles, it can make your muscles longer. It's not going to make your muscles bigger per se, but it's extremely important helping you build muscle, because the more flexibility you have, the more potential strength that you have. So if we think of yoga if we think of your fitness kind of as a pyramid, right? So we've got level 1 down here. We've got level 2 up here. We've got level 3, right? Level 4. So the bottom level of your fitness is flexibility. It's range of motion. It's mobility. And if we don't have a large base of fitness, we're not going to be able to stack all that other stuff on top of it. So, most guys have kind of a pyramid that looks like this. They've got strength on the second level, and then maybe below that they have mobility. But if they increase their mobility, if they increase their overall mobility, they'd be able to have a wider base of strength. So by improving your flexibility, you're going to have more strength. So, and then also because of having flexibility, you're going to recover more quickly. You're going to build muscle more quickly, because that's how muscles grow. It's through the recovery process. So that flexibility is, again, going to give you it's going to give you more potential strength. It's going to help you recover more quickly and grow muscle more quickly. And at the same time, it's also a different kind of strength. So even though it's not the same as pushing something as much as we can, as hard as we can, or doing a squat with as much weight on our back as we can, it's still something that we need to do to get stronger. So that flexibility is huge, and that's a huge reason why yoga is going to help you build muscle. Number 3, and I just touched on this, is the improved recovery. So most people don't take the time to stretch. Most people don't take the time to do body maintenance work. And so when you're doing yoga, we're kind of forcing you to do that work. We're forcing you to stretch your muscles. We're forcing you to do those restorative stretches that help your muscles recover, that relieve tension, and that allow you to get stronger. So you're going to have much faster recovery rates when you're doing yoga. And even if you don't really, some of us say we stretch, but really we don't, right? We take 5 or 10 minutes and we do a little bit of stretching, a little half-ass stretching at the end of our workouts sometimes, but we don't spend 30, 45, or 60 minutes really focusing on the stretching. And when you're doing yoga, at least some types of yoga, right? I kind of discussed last week that there's different ways we can use yoga. We can use yoga as a workout, as a total workout, as a body weight resistance exercise workout, or we can use yoga as a recovery workout where it's kind of lazy stretching. Stretching with good technique, but still kind of lazy, relaxing stretching. So there's a couple ways to do workouts. And if you're focusing on both types of those yogas, and you'll find these are the kind of workouts that I put out in the members area. It really depends on where you go to do yoga, because some workouts are going to be really intense without any restorative stuff. And then there's some workouts that are almost entirely restorative. So what I do is a blend of those workouts, and sometimes they meet right in the middle. We've got an equal amount of strength work and mobility work and restorative work. And then sometimes it's all restorative, sometimes it's all extreme. But point is, as long as you're doing that aspect of restorative yoga, you're going to have improved recovery. And even if you're doing a vinyasa class, like a flow class or a power yoga class, that movement is going to help your muscles recover. So improved recovery. Number 4 is the body awareness aspect. So a lot of people, when they're moving quickly through exercises, they don't have body awareness. They don't notice the proper muscles engaging. They don't really slow down to make sure they're doing the movement correctly. And as a result of that, people tend to avoid using their core. They avoid using their glutes. They avoid using their back muscles, their scapular stabilizers, so the muscles between your shoulder blades. And when that happens, you're not getting as much engagement from your whole, you're not getting as much output from your body. So you're kind of, it's kind of like you're doing a 5-person job with 3 people, right? You're missing a lot of those muscle groups. And so what yoga does is help you develop that body awareness to say, okay, what am I doing here? Ooh, I can feel that muscle engaging. Or, oh, I know what this muscle feels like because I'm doing this super slow pose, right? Maybe I'm doing let's say I'm doing a high lunge. You can't see me all the way here, but let's say I'm doing a high lunge. And as I'm holding that, I'm thinking, okay, now get that muscle to engage. Oh, I can notice what that feels like, right? So we're developing that body awareness to engage the muscles. And that helps us when we're doing other exercises because we're able to have that muscle engagement. And even without other exercises, you're still going to build muscle because we're really focusing on engaging those muscles. And again, that body awareness, building that neuromuscular ability to be able to say from your brain, hey, engage that muscle. And you're like, right, and you engage something, that helps you build muscle. If you can't control the muscle, you're not going to be able to build it. So that's another reason. Number 5, and I just kind of touched on this, but I said body awareness, but it's the muscle activation and the muscle engagement aspect. So number 4 was body awareness. Number 5 is the muscle engagement aspect. And so what I try to do, so what I've done, or what I get a lot of feedback from in terms of the videos that I put out with Manful Yoga is the extreme emphasis on muscle engagement. And so the extreme focus on muscle engagement teaches you to internalize and make that muscle engagement part of everything else that you do. So when you go to lift weights, again, if you've been doing yoga, if you're doing Manful Yoga for a couple of weeks now, and you know what I mean when I say engage your glutes, you're going to apply that to your other exercises. So when you're doing deadlifts or when you're doing squats, you're going to notice, okay, I got to get my glutes engaged. And so the more you do this type of exercise, the more you do Manful Yoga and maybe yoga in particular, and maybe other types of yoga too, you're going to notice that you're supposed to engage these muscles, and that translates over into the other things that you do. So number 5, why yoga is so important in helping you in building muscle is because of that muscle engagement aspect. When you're moving slowly, when you're slowing down, when you're only using your body weight, it gives you a chance to really check in with your body and to develop that neuromuscular connection. Again, being able to just say, hey, engage that muscle, squeeze that part of your body, and that's going to help you build muscle there. I mean, it's really kind of simple. It's kind of like switching a light on. It's kind of like going over to a circuit box and switching everything to on. That's what we do in yoga. A lot of that is just turning on those muscles and teaching them to engage. So that's number 5, is that muscle engagement and activation. Number 6 is balance postures. And balance postures are really important because they help you build body awareness. They help you build strength and endurance, but they also help you build that muscle awareness and that engagement that we talked about. When you're standing, and you probably can't see me, I stand back here a little bit, but if I'm just standing on one leg here like this helps to improve, this helps to turn on muscles. This helps to engage muscles that I wouldn't be using if I were just doing a traditional weightlifting workout. So by adding in those balancing postures, you're going to build muscle. You're going to improve the amount of, you're going to increase the amount of muscle fibers that you're utilizing during your workout, just because you're focusing on holding that posture for a long time. So I don't know the name right now, but I've talked about this with when I was on Ben Greenfield podcast. He brought up a guy who trained professional football teams, NFL teams, and he said that the only thing he would do with their workouts is he would basically hold planks or hold lunges or hold squats for 5 minutes at a time. And the reason for that is because the longer you hold exercises, the longer you do those exercises for, those static postures, the more muscle fibers you're engaging. And when you do that and even when you're just doing that exercise, that translates over into other things. So you're going to have, so even though you're doing that in your yoga workout, that's going to translate over into the other things that you do. So, number 6 is the balanced postures, but also just because you're holding a static posture for a long time, that's going to help you increase the amount of muscle fibers your body recruits for the movement. All right, let's move on to number 7. Number 7 is auxiliary muscles. So these are kind of the more minor muscles that aren't typically used in big lifts. So if we think about deadlifts, or we think about squats, or we think about bench press, those work our larger muscle groups, right? Those work our quadriceps, those work our glute max, those work our hamstrings. But there's a lot of other muscles that don't get as much activation out of that. So muscles like your vastus medialis obliquus, this guy right here, your VMO muscle, your glute medius. So the kind of this muscle, not your glute max, not your butt muscle on the back, but the muscle to the inside of your hip, or the outside of your hip coming in. So there are muscles that you're not going to get as much action from when you're doing those normal types of exercises. But when you're slowing down and doing yoga and really focusing on the exercise and focusing on the movement, you're going to strengthen those auxiliary muscles, those less commonly used muscles that when they don't get used lead to injury. So number 7 is the auxiliary muscles. Again, just strengthening those less commonly used, or those less major muscles that you use during yoga. Number 8 is better sleep. Better sleep and everything that comes with better sleep. So yoga helps you relax. It helps you focus on your breathing. It helps you relax your body. It helps you release tension. And all of these things combine to help you have better sleep. So when you're doing yoga and you're getting better sleep, that helps you build more muscle because you're sleeping better. Sleeping is when you get stronger. You're not getting stronger when you're doing your workout. Workout is calculated stress on the body. So when you're doing a workout, you're telling your body, hey, we need to build up this area here, or hey, we need to make this area stronger. And you're breaking down those muscle fibers. And then what happens when you sleep is those muscle fibers are getting rebuilt. So it's having, eating the right foods, and then also sleeping well. And that's what really builds muscle. But a lot of people have trouble sleeping because we don't focus on relaxing enough. We don't focus on winding down or releasing tension. And so when we're doing yoga, we're working on those things. Especially if you're focusing on that more restorative side of yoga that I talked about before. So by doing yoga, you're going to sleep better. As a result of that, you're going to build more muscle. Sleeping better also helps you have more testosterone. So it helps you relieve stress. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of indirect results of yoga that help you build more muscle. So again, better sleep leads to more muscle. Better sleep leads to more testosterone, which leads to more muscle. So there's a lot of arrows that we can draw here that lead right back to yoga in terms of helping you build muscle. And then number 9, I wanted to mention one more thing, and I need to remember what it was first, because we talked about the improved recovery, we talked about flexibility, we talked about the body resistance aspect, body weight resistance, we talked about body awareness, muscle engagement, muscle activation, the balancing, we talked about auxiliary muscles, we talked about the better sleep, the testosterone, and then one other thing I wanted to talk about, as soon as I think of it, well, let me go to the comments while I'm thinking about this. Everett said, "Hey, freaking men." I'm assuming that was at the beginning and in response to let's talk about what yoga is and what yoga doesn't do, and cut through the bullshit. Oh man, it was a really good one too, and I can't remember what I wanted to say. I guess we'll just skip it for now. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I just gave you my 8 reasons why yoga helps you build muscle. And so, to answer the question directly and succinctly, does yoga help you build muscle? Yes, both in direct and indirect ways. really the bottom line is, if you want to build muscle more quickly, you need to be doing some sort of restorative workouts in addition to the other things that you're doing. You need to train your body to engage the muscle if you want to build more muscle. Just doing the same things over and over again isn't going to build muscle if you've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. You have to change up your workouts if you want to build more muscle. There are certain moves that you should be doing all the time. We should always be doing squats. We should always be doing lunges. We should always be doing some form of a pull-up or push-ups. But we should always be doing some sort of rowing motion. That looked weird. Anyway, so we should always be doing, there's certain movements we should always be doing. It's changing them up, right? So it's changing the way, it's changing the speed of the movement. Maybe instead of going really fast, we're going, really nice and slow. Maybe we're changing the amount of seconds we spend on the eccentric versus the concentric versus the isometric motion. So we could do a pull here where we go 1, 2, 3, hold here for 4 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then release for 5 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we could do 1 second, 3 second, and then 1 second, right? So 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, hold here, and then release 0, 1, right? So we can change up the way that we're doing the movements, and that's going to help us get stronger. Anyways, the point is you need to change up your workouts. So if you've been doing weights for a really long time now and you've kind of hit a plateau, you should probably just stop doing weights for a month. Do something else. Go get stronger in a different way. So anyways, what would be best yoga pose for tennis elbow pain? So tennis elbow, at the elbow, we want to look at, okay, elbow is here. So when we think about how to fix the body, so to speak, we want to look at all the muscles that connect to the elbow. So John, you can work on your wrist, right? We can work on stretching your forearms. We can work on stretching the biceps and the triceps. That also connects to the shoulder. So we can work on the shoulder mobility and on shoulder strength. So there's a lot of different things you can do for that. But again, start at the elbow, work your way out from there, and you can, do some stuff based on that. Anyways, point is, bottom line, if you want to build more muscle, you need to be doing some sort of restorative work, some sort of muscle activation work, some sort of slow, controlled movement to make sure that the right muscles are engaging. And you need to be doing something to help monitor your stress and make sure that your sleep is good. So yoga happens to do all of those things, which is why I'm such a big fan of it and why I promote it and why I've dedicated my life to doing this. So I hope you found that useful. If you're watching this now and you're live, thanks for joining me. If not, this is going to be added to Facebook later. It's going to be added to Facebook right now, and I'm also going to upload it to YouTube in a few minutes, so you'll be able to watch this on YouTube whenever. And again, this is part 7 of the Why Should Men Do Yoga series. I don't know how many more of these I'm going to do. I've talked about, the other topics I've done is, does yoga have to be spiritual? It doesn't. And then I've also talked about how's it different from other workouts. Some other things that I've got in here that I could possibly talk about are the injury prevention. I could talk about yoga and longevity. We could talk about yoga and back pain. We could talk about whether or not yoga is just for women. It's not. Anyways, so those are a few things that I want to talk about. And you can expect to see those in the near future. I've been doing these every day that I've been in town and working. I was on vacation last week. And then a final question, because it just came in and it seems very relevant. Can you build muscle without weight training, only through yoga? Christian, the answer is yes, but it has to be the right type of yoga. You're not going to be able to, you are not going to be able to build significant muscle going to most vinyasa classes. They're not doing enough you're just not doing enough to strengthen your muscles. They might be fun, you might work up a sweat, you might move quickly, but it's not really going to help you build muscle. If you really want to build muscle with yoga, you have to be doing something that forces you to hold the postures for a longer time. And that's exactly what I do with Manful Yoga. So the answer is yes, you can build muscle with yoga. Are you going to build 20 pounds of muscle with yoga? Probably not. Can you build 5, maybe 10 pounds of muscle with yoga? Depending on where you are in your physical fitness stage, yes, you can. That's totally viable. But again, it really depends on the type of yoga you're doing, and understand that not every type of power yoga or every type of vinyasa is going to get you. In fact, most are not going to help you build significant muscle. So, yes, and even if you want to build yoga without weight training, I would, don't be attached to the method. There's no reason for you not to do weightlifting if you're doing it properly, and you have if you're doing it properly. There's no reason to avoid doing weights. There's no reason to avoid there's no reason to avoid doing weights. There's no reason to avoid doing pull-ups. You need to do some sort of pulling motions in addition to yoga. Jorge, we already talked about, can you burn fat by doing yoga? Actually, did we? I think we talked about weight loss in yoga. Crap. Did I talk about that? Let me check. And if I haven't, then that's something that I need to talk about. Let's go through these. Does yoga have to be spiritual? Is yoga a hard enough workout? Can it help with increased testosterone? I haven't talked about yoga and fat burning. Well, I guess I should. All right, that'll be a topic for tomorrow. Last question. Let's see here. What was I saying? Crap. Let's see here. Yes. So I was talking about, sorry for you guys watching. I'm trying to do these as quickly as possible. It's kind of hard to talk constantly for 30 minutes. So last thing I wanted to say with regards to, don't be attached to the method. So don't be scared of using weights as long as you're doing them properly and you're doing the right research beforehand and you're learning how to do them and following a program. If you don't know what you're doing, don't be afraid of pull-ups. You need to be doing some sort of pulling motion in addition to yoga, or your shoulders are at a really high risk of injury. If you're only doing pushing exercises, and you're only doing stuff with your arms in front of you like this, and you're not doing any sort of pulling exercises that use some sort of resistance here, right? So Cobra isn't enough. You actually need to do some exercises that have a weight attached to them. Otherwise, it's not going to be enough. Anyways, don't do yoga. Don't only do yoga just because you want to. I don't know why, but you need to be doing other stuff. Don't just stick to one method. It's about the results. I mean, really, we do yoga because we want to be in better shape. And there's no reason that we should just do yoga. If the goal is to be in better shape, there's no reason why you should stick to one discipline. Do lots of different stuff. Don't be dogmatic. All right, so I've got some other questions here, but I need to go because these questions are too long to answer. So I guess tomorrow I can talk about yoga and fat burn. Short answer is yes, yoga helps with fat burn. But we're going to need to talk about why it does. And we're going to need to talk about why it helps with fat burn, and also, to what extent can it help with fat burn. There's people that have been doing man flow yoga and have lost 10, 20 pounds. I've got one guy who I spoke with a couple weeks ago who lost like 60 pounds over the course of 6 months. So what happens, people do lose weight by doing yoga, but it also has to be in conjunction with proper sleep, stress management, and proper diet. If you just start doing yoga and you don't change anything else, you're not going to do it. Nothing's going to happen. You'll get stronger, but you won't look stronger, and you won't really lose weight. So we'll talk about that another day. Link to my yoga program. So manflowyoga.com is where you can find all of that I do. manflowyoga.com / and there's 2 programs that I recommend if you're just starting off with yoga. The first is my Guy Yoga workout program, and this is a beginner's yoga workout series for people who have never done yoga before, for people who don't typically do yoga, so people who are inflexible, people who maybe felt lost when they went to a yoga studio, and maybe don't want the spiritual aspects of yoga, but really want to focus on the technique, focus on the proper muscle engagement, focusing on doing the exercises effectively and safely. So this is Guy Yoga, and this is a program I created specifically for new beginners to yoga. And that's at manflowyoga.com / Guy Yoga, GUYYOGA. YOGA. So that's the first program I recommend for beginners. The second one is the Manful Yoga members area. And this is if you want more content and you want newer stuff on a regular basis and you want lots of workout programs, this is what I recommend. This is my most comprehensive training resource. It has workout programs. It has a workout library with over 150 workouts. It has tutorials. It has a wellness section, so stuff on diet, stuff on weight loss, stuff on how to make smoothies, lots of stuff like that, lots of really helpful information, lots of actionable information. So that's at manfulyoga.com/7-day-trial. And you can get a $1, it's just $1, and that gets you 7 days of unlimited access to everything. So again, manfulyoga.com/7-day-trial. And that is my most comprehensive training resource. And that also has a really cool community attached to it. So when you sign up, you get access to our private Facebook group, and you get to get in there and talk with other people who are using the workouts, sharing your experiences, helping motivate you to get through the workouts. It's a really cool community that I'm really proud of. And it's not just me that really made it happen. It's everybody else who joined and talks and makes it happen. It's not me. It's really self-sustaining and organic, and it's a really cool thing. And I'm really proud that we have such an awesome community for that. And again, that's at manfulyoga.com/7-day-trial to get access to the Manful Yoga members area and the Manful Yoga community. So thanks for joining me today. I hope this was useful. Again, this is going to be uploaded later to Facebook and also to YouTube. And I got to get going. I've got to make videos, got to make content. There's still more yoga to be made. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.